Thank you so much for inviting me to present here today. I am so excited. My name is Nancy Solari, creator and founder of Living Full Out. And today it's all about maximizing your potential by living full out. And we have a lot of motivational goodies for you to come. And I really want you to focus on today, where in your life do you want to up the ante? Do you want to polish your skills? Do you want to become more expressive? Really maximizing that potential. I first of all want to introduce myself. Again, I'm Nancy Solari, and I am a Northwest gal through and through. I actually grew up in Bellingham, Washington as a little girl. I loved it. Gosh, we would, ski and sled down hills and climb trees and just had a great childhood. And then my family moved to Lake Oswego, Oregon, and again, I went there for my high school years and then journeyed on down to Eugene, Oregon. Went to the University of Oregon as my school. Go Ducks, we all love them. And then further went on to California. And the thing is I love folks from Oregon. Honestly, to be here with all of you today, it's like coming home. You are my people. And so I really want to make sure that your family there gets the juice that you need to feel nourished, to feel inspired. That's what it's all about when we consider maximizing our potential. Now, I want to share with you a little bit about my path just so that we are more connected. And the thing is, what you may or may not know is that I'm legally blind. So at 16 years old, myself and my two older sisters, we were all diagnosed with what's called retinitis pigmentosa, RP. And it's a degenerative condition, so there is no cure, sadly. And what it does is it affects night blindness, so nighttime is super dark for me. Depth perception loss, so when you see those strips at the edge of stairs, those are for folks like me to help us know there's an edge, but there's no real curbs or edges or counter edges. In my world, everything just kind of blends together. Also, my world is very foggy and fuzzy. It's hard for me to see faces. In the right lighting, I might be able to see one eye, maybe just the eye socket. But a lot of times the facial features just kind of blend together. Maybe I can see a distinction between someone's hair if it's darker against the color of their face. But for the most part, I meet people based upon their aura, their personality, their hug, their handshake. And the biggest thing about being legally blind, I feel, is that you really have kind of that sixth sense. The way that I connect with people has nothing to do with my vision. And that's been very eye-opening for me, literally, because so oftentimes we do look at someone and judge them on how we connect with them, or, would we relate to each other? Would we have things in common? And since I don't see people, I just go right up to them. Hi, I'm Nancy. So it's been really great for me because it's been able to take away all the noise, all the distractions, and really be with people in a personable way. Now, as my life journeyed along, thankfully, after getting that diagnosis, I felt it was game on. I wanted to make sure that with the sight I had, I wanted to see the world, literally. And so I went and traveled to Japan. I had studied Japanese for 7 years, and my grandparents said that if you study a language, we will send you there. So my older sister and I, we went off to Japan and were exchange students, and that was just super memorable. Really glad that I could see all the different aspects and parts of the Japanese countryside, and it was just really a wonderful experience. Also, we went off to Europe, and over 3 months, we hit 26 different countries. And I was able to see, the Colosseum in Rome, and, some of the Eiffel Tower, and so many aspects of Europe that are historic that today, when I have gone back in recent years, I can't see any of that. And also we went to other travels. We went to Barbados and Canada and Mexico, and just really trying to see as much as I could. Now, why is that important? Because you work hard. I know you do. But we all have this vision of places we'd like to go. And a lot of times we put it off, and I am taking a stand today that you take that trip to Australia. You go to the countryside, you spend that quality time while you can, because there's no guarantees when it comes to sight or any other health concerns that we may have. Now, after seeing all those great aspects of the world, I did get my degree from the University of Oregon. I got a broadcasting degree and psychology degree. Now, that's kind of a funny story because, like so many of us, I grew up watching Oprah. And I remember being a 10-year-old girl sitting right there on the couch saying, gosh, what a great job that would be. And I thought, well, she's on TV, that's broadcasting, and she's almost like a therapist. She's helping people, she's connecting the people, and that's psychology. Now, when I got to the University of Oregon, it wasn't about becoming another Oprah. It was about figuring out who was Nancy. And I bring that up to you because we all sometimes feel that competition with other people. We feel like we have to live up to expectations. And what I want you to come away from today when you're considering maximizing your potential is to figure out who you are. What is your secret sauce? Obviously, you're in the role you are in your career because one day they got a resume, then there was an interview, and they felt out of all the candidates, you were the best. So you have that secret sauce, you have that inside you, and it's just a matter of turning that fire up, that passion for what you do, that hunger for life. So when I got my degree, I set out to host. I set out to conquer the broadcasting world. And you know what? I did pretty well. I actually had many different internships over my college career. I was a DJ, I was a morning show producer, I was an anchor. I did so many different roles that ultimately I even found myself in New York at Good Morning America and was able to work alongside Spencer Christian and Joan London and so many great celebrities, but also broadcasters that had found their niche. They knew their secret sauce. So I was very blessed to be around that environment. I also found myself going to California and working at Entertainment Tonight, seeing how those shows were put together. Again, it was hanging out with, Mary Hart and all those different folks over at ET and just seeing again what made them different, unique. How did they work as a team together in such a chaotic, hectic, time demanding environment? And that helped grow Nancy up. Now, there I was with my degree in hand, kind of living the dream. This is what I wanted to do. But remember, retinitis pigmentosa was right around the corner. In fact, as I started to see my vision change in my early 20s, I remember the doctor saying that I would go blind by 40. Now, that was a gulp moment. And I want to share about these gulp moments with you. We're always going to have them. A minute we make a mistake, the time we get bad news. But I believe that those gulp moments are winning moments. There are times when we again up that ante, we become tenacious. So when I heard those words that I would go blind by 40, I was setting out to find that cure, become part of clinical trials, and most of all, make sure to live my dreams out and follow my purpose. But I couldn't help that my vision was changing. As I was trying to read teleprompters, it would be as though the words were jumping around, or in a sentence, I might only see two words, not the full sentence, and it became really hard to read those teleprompters. Now, there were other changes happening within the environment I was in, so I decided to transition. I really couldn't put words to what was happening with my eyes. I just knew that I couldn't quite keep up with the demand of the timing. So I decided, well, gosh, this is my dream time, right? This is the time for me to go for it. So I'd always enjoyed singing. I'd sang the national anthem at sporting events, and I decided that I would switch gears and go into the music industry and see what that was about. And I loved it, being in a studio, recording an album, performing. It was just great. But once again, retinitis pigmentosa took a jump. And this time, the night vision kicked in, the lack of it, I should say. Being on stage became even darker. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't fall off stages, right? Because if you're looking at the bright lights shining on you, it's really hard to know where the stage edge is. Or other times, it was about, being in the studio and not being able to see around equipment, just really, really complicated. But what I did is I pressed forward. I found out ultimately that, sex, drugs, rock and roll, that scene, it wasn't really a Nancy fit. I was still that girl from Oregon who wanted the dreams, but I had my values, convictions, and the way that I had grown up, and I wanted to maintain those. So once again, I decided to transition. I'd always loved real estate, negotiating, helping people find the home of their dreams. That would be fun. So I went into real estate and I was really good at it. In fact, I hit top producer status in Southern California many different times, and it was it was really I would say an honor to see people build their real estate empires and to know that they came to me as their go-to, their guru in that industry. But again, RP came back around and my vision took another jump. However, this time the lines on the roads were disappearing, and I ultimately, at 24, had to give up driving. But there I was a top producer, I had all these clients, and so I had to really ponder how I was going to keep up with the Joneses. How was I going to maintain that level of production? And to figure that out, I did learn the bus system. I would take anywhere from 2 to 12 buses in a day showing property, literally getting to the house early, turning on all the lights, memorizing every step, and then my clients would show up in their luxury automobile and I would show them the property. They would like it, they would not like it, but all in all, I did my best. And then I would let them leave. As they drove off, I would turn off the lights, take my time, and then go back to the bus stop, get on the next bus, and again, oftentimes have many different showings in one day. And over time, even doing open houses, I'm sure many people thought, why is that realtor have open house signs, 6 of them, and all these flags and all the things I needed for my open house? But I had to do that as well. Over time, I did grow and I got an assistant and then a second assistant. And then ultimately, the vision did change so much that it became harder to see cracks in the foundation, the color of the walls. And although I was a great negotiator and good at contracts, it was even hard to see those because over time, my vision got to a place where I would look at a piece of paper and it was just blank. All the words disappeared. Even on a computer monitor, all of a sudden, that disappeared. It would be like just a white screen. So I had to really ponder, what was I going to do with the rest of my life? I knew that other people had to have other changes in their life, whether it be relationship heartbreak, vision changes, health concerns. And it was my goal to create Living Full Out, where a company where we could help people connect the dots to assess where they are and where they want to go, not just professionally, but also personally. So in May 2008, Living Full Out was born. And it was set out to do just that, help people identify what they want most in their life, put together a plan of action, and go for it. And I'm proud to say that we are still kicking and we are growing and coaching and speaking and publishing and that's what led me to you. So once again, my honor to be here within your family. And as I went along, here I was, I had broadcasting, I had real estate, the music industry, and now founder, creator of Living Full Out. And I share all that with you because, well, going legally blind was scary at times and stressful. It actually helped me to become a better version of me. So when you consider some of these stresses, these challenges that you're facing within the workplace or even personally, I want you to really look at them as growing moments. Those gulp moments, they're good ones, but it's what you do with it. You have to look at that moment and not give your power away, but take it back. So today we really want to make sure that we focus on maximizing your potential so that you can live full out. Now I realize that we all live in a time right now where there's a lot of unrest, right? People are anxious, people are protesting, people are angry, people are sad. They're confused. And a lot of times within your role, what you do, you are that go-to person. You are the compass in the storm. And you want to really step up and have that be a badge of honor. But at the same time, I realize sometimes you wish you didn't have to be the one with all the answers. But I want you to switch that mentality and today walk away with pride, knowing that you are going to maximize your potential within your role. You can't help all unrest come to close. You can't cause every distraction to go away, but you do have the ability to be that anchor in a storm for other people. Those might be your clients, it might be the public, it might be a coworker, look for those opportunities because that's what this game of life is all about. It's really about identifying where can I make a difference, make the biggest impact, be of service to another. Key word there, right? Be of service, because I know that's why you do what you do in the first place. And we have to really look at all the different roles that people play, whether you work in an office or you're out in the field. How can we, rather than jump on the bandwagon of, pushing people down or adding to the toxic language, we want to build each other up. If certain groups are being picked on or professions are not being rewarded or being given credit for what they do, then you want to stand up and say, no, we need them in this world. They protect us, they keep us safe, whether that is firefighters or police officers or, public figures that are out there, trying to get good legislation in place. We want to support those that are in those roles. Now, I realize there's going to be corruption, there's going to be dishonesty, and you want to try to rise above that. And there's been all of that for since the beginning of time, right? There's always been those bad apples. But I believe that the human spirit is good, and you're part of that spirit. It just takes you protecting others, speaking out, eyes wide open, looking for what's not going right and standing up and being able to call it out or come up with a solution. I am a solution person. I'm a planner and I'm a solution person. And I believe that you can be too. And again, that's an opportunity to maximize your potential. If you've been kind of sitting back a little bit weary and worried about speaking up, make today the day that you say, no, I just can't let it cruise by anymore. I need this ship to get back on track. And you could be that hero for, again, the public, a coworker, or another profession who really needs your support. Now, we do live in a polarizing environment, right? There is negative exposure, publicity here and there, and sometimes that is within our own personal life. Someone might say something about you, you have to shake it off. You have to sometimes identify the source. Why are they saying that? But it's most important in this world that we have those values, that we have those convictions. Remember when I told you that I got out of the music industry because it wasn't the right fit for me? I was this good girl from Oregon and, it just wasn't the perfect match. Sometimes you have to identify, is the role that you're in a perfect match? Or do you see another position where it's a better fit? Or how else could you give more? How could you relieve stress from another person? How could you make that larger impact? And believe it or not, I think that negativity, when it comes to publicity, when it comes to exposure, we can quiet that noise. But it takes one person at a time, and then we band together as a group, and then we shut it down. Those bullies, the voices will go away. Now, also, I realize we're in a time right now where people, shoot photography all the time on their phones, right? And some things are out of context, or it's before or after an epic event. And I think you have to be willing to tell a story, fill in the gaps. I watch a lot of the news and I read a lot, and I'm constantly trying to stay, abreast of everything happening in the world and in my local town. But I like hearing different points of view. I like knowing, who was actually there when something happened. Not just the images that one would see, which is rather ironic because remember, I can't even see video. So a lot of times it's the words that people say, it's the excuses, or are they standing up for someone else? I want you to know that the power of your words are everything, meaning that you want to use words like I can, I will, because when we listen to other people's negativity, a lot of times it speaks to our core, it speaks to our heart. It tells us things aren't going to get better or we can't do it. And I want you to take out the no's, the nots, the N apostrophe T words. You want to just put them and just throw them away because they don't exist. A lot of times we have fear that things will never get better, fear of what is still to come. But fear actually stands for false evidence appearing real. It's not real. So when I say take that negativity, package it away, throw it away, I mean it. It doesn't serve you. You want to leap out of bed every day with purpose and passion in your heart. And yes, the day is not always going to go right to plan, but do the best you can, because that's really what maximizing your potential is about. It's about putting yourself out there. It's about finding opportunities where you can make a difference and help others to live their life full out. Now, there's just some things that are not going to be in our control, right? It's hard sometimes to see towns and cities that we love so much burn down, or buildings get beat up, or sometimes that's due to protesting, sometimes that's natural disasters, and it can be really heartbreaking. But I believe in the spirit of rebuilding. You can rebuild trust, you can rebuild buildings, and you can also rebuild that motivation, that passion that you have inside. If you found that your light inside has kind of started to diminish a bit, let's turn that light up. Let's say to ourselves, you know what, I see things have not gone so well this year, last year, but you know what, I'm going to hold the space that they will. And I know sometimes it's really scary, right? I mean, forest fires. I live in California. We have a ton of them. And having lived in Oregon, and I know you all live in Oregon, a lot of them, right? But I want you to know that even those fires, think about the people on the ground. Think about the people in the air. Think about the people at the office. Everybody who's trying their best, even a homeowner with their own hose trying to put out a fire. That is community. In some ways, as scary as that moment is, it's beautiful to see us all band together. And I believe so much in our country and our state and our cities that we can band together. We can shine, but we have to be willing to look for those moments where you can do your part, where you can tap into that secret sauce that is signature you. Now, I realize sometimes we lack resources. We lack enough support, security, water, whatever it may be. Again, you want to look at life as a game. The game is life is meant to be played. But when you play the game, you look for solutions. When bad news comes your way, you pivot and go to more inspirational news. When a problem arises in your world and you're not even sure how to handle it, band together with others that are also in a solution mode. Ask for help, very important. Look for resources even outside your city that could help you. Or what have other professionals in your role, what have they done to get past that problem? But it starts with really acknowledging and assessing, what is the problem? How did we get here? And rather than the blame game, it's about that solution, and looking to see where are others doing it really well. There are times in my life, I've really put myself out there, I've done my best, but sometimes I've had an idea or I thought, gosh, this will be a solution, and it didn't work out. And then I turn to others who maybe have done it a different way or succeeded at the mission that I was trying to tackle. And I learned from them, a different way of seeing it, something different than I initially planned. So taking an assessment, also looking at calculated risk. If you go this way, what's going to happen? If you go that way, what's going to happen? And it's okay to take a pause. Now, I realize sometimes we don't have the time to take a pause. We have to make those decisions quickly. But that assessment is critical because people depend on you. You're in the role you are because we believe in you. We know that you have the skills, we know that you have the heart, and we know that you will get us out of sticky situations. And as we go along and we consider this moment, trying to maximize our potential, right? So that you can live full out. It's about putting structures in place, developing new processes. When you look at something that's not working, not being afraid to make a change and pivot, because structures can be, revamped, reformatted, self-corrected, but you have to be willing to take that leap of faith. Now, sometimes you're going to be in a dilemma where the clock is ticking, the decision is down to you, and you got to make it. Remember, believe in yourself. listen to not just what's going on in your mind, right? Because a lot of times the mind they'll take us away to negative places. But listen to your heart. Follow your gut. Again, in my life, I can't see. When I walk out that door, I can't see the sidewalk in front of me. I can't see if there's a car passing me by. But does that mean that I stay inside my office or my home? No. I have to take that leap of faith. I have to keep stepping forward, and so do you. Sometimes when you step, it's going to be sticky. You might even misstep. You might fall. But pick yourself up again. Trust that you were the right person for the job, that you will make the right decision. Sometimes we just have to kind of work it through to find that right decision. And most of all, I realize that sometimes we feel like our hands are tied. There isn't enough money in the budget, or budgets get cut and then we lose programs, or we feel like it's not going to get better, it's only getting worse. I believe when we come together and we get in that solution mode, money can be found. It can be created. It can be free, right? There's ways that people will volunteer. But if people don't know where the problem is, if they don't know what you need, they can't help you. And really going back to assessing, that's why that is so important. Looking at all the different scenarios and what could happen. But all of these times when you feel like you're out of control, you feel like the world is spinning, always remember to just take a moment of pause, look inside yourself, and know that you were the right person for the job. You're going to maximize your potential and get past this time in your life. Now, it's really important for all of us that we find balance. I don't know about you, but I really try every day to find a way to bring balance into my life. And sometimes that's easier said than done. I realize you might have conflicting personalities at the office. Right now, out there in the public, people are trying to find their voice and protesting, but yet, people are restrictive in force and discipline, and that can be frustrating, right? Because we all want to be on the same team, and I believe that we will be in time. We all have to kind of muscle through this time together and really listen to, what is the pain that each cultural group, demographic, city, professional is facing. And when you consider those challenges, where are there similarities? You're not going to fix everything, but where could a similarity of a challenge be kind of confirmed and put out and resolved? That's what you're looking for. Because there are so many different layers and types of people out there. And you're, again, not going to make everyone happy. But what I really want you to think about today when we're maximizing our potential is within the role that you're at, when you reflect on the last week, the last month, or even year that you've been, doing your job, what have you done really well? I want you to take a moment and give yourself credit for what you do. I think life goes so fast, one day flips into the next, and we don't take enough time to say, you know what, I'm proud of myself, or you know what, that was a good decision. Now, on the flip side, we also have to be willing to look at mistakes we've made, or perhaps areas in our life where we need to be more organized or more vocal or more in research mode. And sometimes we have to be that support and strength for others that cannot do it themselves. I know in many of our towns, there's homeless, there's people that are financially hurting, there's people that are worried that, this time that we're in of distress is never going to end. And you want to take their hands and put them in yours, maybe literally, maybe not, maybe just by phone or in the work that you do. And again, you want to be that anchor in the storm. You want to know that you're going to help them see that good is around the corner, that we will get through this together. But people need you to be that positive light. So you've got to look at, again, areas in your life that you're doing really, really great work. And then other areas in your life where you need to make that correction and pivot. Now, I realize that sometimes it's hard to communicate with people in the office. Everybody has different personality styles and communication and so forth. I want to give you a tip. When you're considering communicating with others in the office, everybody's going to have a different communication style. So you want to look at that other person and see, are they a more extroverted person or are they introverted? You know, are they somebody who you feel would maybe respond better if you put it in writing, in an actual tangible letter or an email? That way you can just really clearly get all your words put together. And when you write that letter, when you write that email, I want you to write it and then I want you to walk away. And then I want you to come back, reread it, see if some things were said, you know, kind of with too much passion flowing. And again, self-correct the languaging. Be that positive light. Be that person who is resourceful, who's going to maximize the potential within your role, within your position to make change a positive one. Now, if you find that the person is not going to read a long letter or a long email, then in person, by phone, then that is the communication method that you want to go with. And maybe they're a person of passion and they're going to really vibe that you care so much. You know, we're in a time right now where we really have to rebuild trust, not just within the public, but also with each other. Because if we feel that we're going to be a team, right, then we have to know that someone's got our back. We have to know that we're not being talked about. We have to know that every day each of us are going to make the best decision we can, and that tomorrow we're not going to wake up to, you know, negative comments, feedbacks, or bullying. But I do believe that your group, the fact that all of you are here together, is positive. That's exciting. And you want to make sure that over the course of this conference that you really be that solution, that you figure out, okay, how can I maximize my potential in my role? How can I take the higher road? How can I be that person who will be of support to another? Because I tell you, it all starts with one. And like a domino, one will become two, two will become four, right? Four will become eight. And then it's a much different cultural space. And it all starts within your office. Let your office be the shining example for the building. Then let the public see that. Then let the world see that. The United States of America is just the most dreamiest place I could ever have grown up in. I love it. I love our country so much. And I love Oregon with all my heart. And so you want to make sure that you kind of connect the dots between not just making it safe within your office, but letting your city, letting your country, and letting the world know that, listen, it's over. This unrest, this stress, this chaotic times, we're moving on together. And how do you move on together? Well, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, the stress, right? Long hours. And I am with you. A lot of times, because I don't see, because I use low vision aids, I use auditorial devices to read, observe everything. Not just my own emails. I mean, I sit down and I have hundreds of emails. I'm sure you all do. I have to hear my program JAWS read everything to me. Or sometimes somebody will give me research or articles to review. And sometimes I have to hear them over and over and over again. So oftentimes I will start my day at 4 a.m. Now, I might go to bed at 8 p.m., right? Or I might stay up later. But some days we're just going to have to do what we got to do to get the job done, to feel like we really gave it our all, our best. But how do you manage that weight? You know, having the weight of the world on your shoulders, to feel like, oh my gosh, if I make the wrong decision, I'm going to let people down, or this is going to happen. All of that talk in your head is clutter. Again, go back to those positive words. I will, I can. Those affirmations, I'm proud of myself, or I did a really good job, or you know what, I'm going to do better tomorrow. It's really important to let those words ring through your body. Let your mind hear them, let your heart hear them, let your core hear them, let everything resonate, and then you're going to take your power back away from the stress, have more energy, and feel good. Let's talk about energy, right? Because you're going to say, Nancy, I'm under so much stress, I just feel like every day is the same day. Okay, raising my hand, right? We've all been there. There are energy boosters that you can do. First of all, in the morning, in the evening, or if you're still working remotely, you know, when you are stressed out and you go into a shower, you're going to be stressed. But when you come out of that shower, you're never going to be quite as anxious, quite as stressed as you did going in. So taking a shower, 1, 2, 3 a day, whatever you got to do to switch that energy. Remember to always drink water or have hot tea, anything to get your mouth all geared up, ready for those meetings, ready to vocalize, ready to be in that solution mode. Make sure that you're eating healthy snacks, nuts, fruits, vegetables. You want to replenish your mind, that energy. It's super, super important. And I want to touch also on mental health, right? We hear it so oftentimes, but it is crucial. Consider the fact that, like sometimes a day can be like a helium balloon, right? The balloon gets more and more air, more and more pressure. It's building, it's building, it's building. And it's so tight. Well, what you want to do is through showers, eating the right things, working out, having a accountability partner or somebody that you can talk to, then you take that air out of the balloon. The pressure will start to go away. And you have that ability to do that for yourself. Just meditate, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to decompress either at the end of the day or prepare in the beginning to get centered and ready to take it on. That's how you maximize your potential, is having that time to really be the best you and give as much as you can away. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to turn it off. Because what happens, right? If we go through the day and we just keep shaking, let's say I had a can of Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew, right? Let's say I took that can and slowly throughout the day I shook it and I kept shaking it. And, more anxiety, more pressure, long days, more meetings, more this, more that, some things go well, some things don't. Shake, shake, shake. What happens when I finally pop that top? It's going to explode. It's going to go everywhere. And you don't want to get home at the end of the day and explode to your loved ones or explode by yourself and feeling sad or worried or drinking or anything like that. You want to not be that soda can. You want to decompress throughout the day, do things like little 10-minute walks, again, eating the right things to help yourself out. Now, it's one thing to also look at other people because we're a team, right? We're a community. We're all trying to be supportive and get out of these ruts and moments of chaos together. So don't leave any woman or man behind, right? Be very aware of what people are saying. If their mood is normally cheery and you see that they're just not talking as much, they're frowny face, they look sad, they seem stressed, be that sounding board, be that person they can turn to and know that they can vent, know that they can cry, know that they can process something that's really heavy in their mind. Now, also, we have to consider budgeting, right? We talked about how a lot of budgets get cut and that can be very stressful and programs disappear. And that's just life, right? Whether it be in your personal life, whether it be in your role professionally, we have to self-correct. We have to assess. We have to move around money, allocate it different directions, whether it be yearly or even, monthly. It's being willing to let go, being willing to know that you are going to be able to get things done. It just might have to change. And when we talk about that change, sometimes that's getting creative. Remember, you have a beautiful mind. You were chosen in your role out of all the other candidates they looked at because of that secret sauce that you have. So really allow yourself to get creative. Think outside the box. Again, maybe if you're kind of confused, not sure which way to go, maybe there's another professional in another city, another state, who was able to manage a crisis, a dilemma, resources, and you want to find out how they did that. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone or go meet with them in person. Again, it's not just our city. It's not just our state. It's this whole country and world. We want to become more one in a positive, supportive way. And so don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to eliminating stress so that you can maximize your potential. Also, make sure you get in that physical activity. Now, I get it. There are days that I am not out there working out. I know I should. I mean, I have a guide dog. His name is Frost, and Some days he's looking at me going, you didn't walk. We didn't go on a big walk today. And I get the guilt factor. If any of you have fur babies, you know what I'm talking about, right? The let's go on a bigger walk and a bigger walk. But what that reminds me of when I have those moments with Frost is that, I did take too much time today to work. I do need to find that balance because that, again, is how we eliminate those stresses in our life. Now, it's really important that as we kind of round out today and we think about maximizing our potential, we've talked today about the fact that, other people's actions sometimes do cause us to spin. Sometimes people do bad behaviors. Sometimes things are corrupt. Sometimes there is bad publicity. But again, that's noise compared to how great you can be in your role because you are that solution person. We've talked today about, the fact that there's things we can't control, right? We can't control forest fires. We can't control necessarily lack of money. We can't control things that are outside of your realm. But what you can do is be positive, talk positively, find a way to be in that solution mode. We have talked today about finding balance, and I realize that's easier said than done, but it's everything from getting sleep to asking for help to finding an opportunity to not just work all the time, but be with your friends and family and live full out, right? That's our whole point today. Maximize your potential by living full out. And then we've also talked about managing stress, different ways in which you can do that on a big scale. Maybe it's overhauling your life. Maybe it's letting go of toxic people or environments that don't serve you, to the little things you can do throughout the day. Eating right, again, maybe taking a quick cat nap if you need to. But most of all, making sure that you are heard, that you feel like you're able to get those stressful particles inside your body out, right? You want to make sure that you're able to live full out. But that brings me to change. I love the word change because change is one of those things where it's going to happen. But why not let it happen on your terms? You can be the change, the positive change. You can be that person that says, you know what, I can't control everything, people's actions, I know their stresses. Nancy told me all that is noise. That's right, it's noise. But what you can do is make subtle changes. Look at your role. What could you do even better? Remember, upping that ante, right? Or what are there areas where you might need to make changes or pivot or, ask for help or put new processes in place? The time is now. This conference, after it's over, take that fire, take that passion and run with it. I want to make sure that when you leap out of bed in the morning, that you're really focused on the fact that you, again, were selected for your role because you're the best at it. You've got that secret sauce inside you. You've got that passion to support others. You love your state. You love your city. And let that shine. So sometimes that change is going to need to be technology. I mean, being visually impaired, I'm constantly having to learn new technology because the low vision aids change all the time. So sometimes it's voiceover technology. Sometimes it's learning new keystrokes on my computer, and that's really important because I don't use a mouse anymore. I can't see the computer. So everything I do is all done by keystrokes on the keyboard. And it's really important that technology is one that you embrace because, again, if you stay in kind of the old methods, they might take longer. They're eventually going to get outdated. And so look to see how you can be the most efficient. How can you be a better communicator? And again, technology can get you there. You just have to be willing to learn it. I also want to make sure that you plan as much as you can. I realize not everyone's a planner. I am, and I love it, right? But at the same time, if you're not a planner and you kind of shoot from the hip or you like to go with the flow of the day, I respect that completely. But when it comes to being good at what you do, let's say when it comes to being great at what you do, when it comes to maximizing your potential, you got to plan. You got to look at what is coming, learn from the past, what could you have done differently. But then from there, when you put plans in place, you could have a plan B, plan A, plan C, right? Just have a couple of different avenues in which growth is going to happen. And you also, when you're considering change, you want to look at safety and security, right? We see hackings happen all the time now. Change those passwords. Make sure that when you're walking at night that you got a buddy, or make sure that you're in an environment that is safe. Or if you find that you're stressed and you've had a really long day, maybe don't watch the news when you go home. Watch a comedy. You have the ability to take in visually and into your ears positivity and things that make you happy, or you can allow yourself to keep dishing up stress and toxic people and behaviors and news. But I want you to choose positivity. That's how you become safe in your mind, and that's how you live full out. Now, we're talking today again about maximizing your potential. I want to talk about letting life layer. We've talked a lot about different concepts today, right? Actions of other people and lack of control in your life, or managing stress, or finding balance. But the idea of letting life layer is so important. It's one of our mantras at Living Full Out, because you want to look at, for example, managing stress. You've had stress in your childhood. You've had stress in your teenage years, your college years. And every time you got to that crossroad, somehow you coped. Somehow you managed it. Now, you want to look at what were the maybe toxic behaviors you did, and don't do those. But you also want to look at how you got out of it. Who did you talk to? Was it a therapist? Was it a friend? What did you do? And when you look at that layering of how you coped with stress, that will give you insight for future stresses, how you might be able to let go of those. You also want to consider those wins in your life, right? We're letting life layer. And I'm talking about little wins along the way. You got an award, you did a good presentation, you made the right judgment call, even though you weren't sure, it worked out. Letting life layer, so when you get to another crossroad where you're not sure if you go right, you go left, oh my gosh, am I going to make the wrong decision? Again, you can look backwards at those crossroad moments, at the times that you did a good decision, and run with it. And then I also want to make sure that you consider faith. Now, when I say faith, I mean that leap of faith. Remember how, I have to take steps in the world that I can't see. And, there's going to be times that we're not going to have that crystal ball. We're not going to see what's ahead of us. We're going to make those calculated judgments and calls, but you know what? There's external factors that we may or may not know. But when you hit those moments, you want to hold on to what is inside you, that passion, those convictions, those values, your faith. Remember that secret sauce? All that is made up of you. It's been building and building and building since you were a child. And now you're at this moment in time where life is knocking on your door and it's saying, please, please step up. Please reach for more. Maximize your potential. It's a big calling, right? But I know you're up for it. Remember that game of life? This is the time that you play big. I want to make sure that you leave today's conference really looking at areas in your life where you can reach further and farther, where you can maybe identify somebody who needs more support and give them that. It's not easy to live full out, right? Because we can't control those unknown factors that come our way. But it is easy to make good choices. It is easy to say, you know what, I'm going to quiet the noise of negativity in my head, and I'm going to turn the channel, and I'm going to choose positivity. I'm going to say I will, I can, rather than I won't or I didn't. I'm going to stop living in the past. I'm going to live more in the future. Now, I find that to be very important, because part of what doesn't have me living in the woes of going blind is that I'm a present future thinker. Yes, I know what I saw back in the day, and I know what could be coming is full blindness, but I choose the present. I choose to really embrace today and all of what is coming. And it's really important that as you move along within this conference, that you look for those opportunities yourself where you're going to be able to really take that leap of faith and grow and stretch and maximize your potential. So always keep in mind, consider in life like a pie, and you're going to have a slice of your pie as your career self. Then there's a slice of your pie that may be your relationships. Could be an intimate relationship or family, or maybe you have separate slices of pie for each of those different groups. Maybe there's a slice of your pie for your hobbies, for your interests. And maybe there's a slice of pie for education, keeping yourself growing. But to maximize your potential means that you're constantly working all those different slices. You want them to be equal. You don't want to be lopsided in life. So in maximizing your life, you want to turn up the energy, turn up the passion for friends and family and interests and your career and even that educational piece. I know for me, I'm constantly learning how to cook new things and guitar, but I'm also learning from webinars and courses, different technology and how can I career-wise become the better me, right? And you want to do that same thing. I also want to leave you today with some of our elements of living full out because they're really important when you consider the fact that you want to just take that up a step and maximize that potential. The first one is tenacity. You want to have drive. You want to have that energy, that spirit, that passion for what you're doing every day, leaping out of bed in the morning with intention. And also remember that in life, when we talk about being tenacious, you're the driver of your car. Now, if you were a passenger and you had another passenger and two passengers, right, your car would go in circles. You want to be the driver, and when people get in your car, they're the passengers. But people are going to look at you to drive them to where you want them to go. Drive them to your vision. Drive them through your presentation. Drive them through the way that you are finding solutions to problems. That's one way that you maximize your potential tenaciously. Also, gratitude is really important. Have gratitude for those coworkers that you're with, the family that you have, the great, state of Oregon that we live in, right? Have a lot of gratitude for the role that you have. Again, that secret sauce is within you. You were chosen for your job because you were the best. And so you want to make sure that you roll that into the third one, which is purpose. You have a purpose. Life has led you to this moment in time, to this time with me, to this conference, to this job that you're in, because you're meant to do great things. You might not know what they are now, but there may be a hurdle down the road and you're the perfect person to come up with a solution. Maybe you're the right coworker to kind of calm the noise, calm the stress in the office. Maybe you are the glue in your family that keeps it together. Purpose is critical in our life, and if you're not sure how to find it, or if you even have one, I'm sure you do. You just kind of sometimes have to slow down that car, stop driving, sometimes no one in your car, just you, and talk it out. Now, as we journey through today and we kind of close up, it's really also important that you celebrate life moments. I know there's stresses, right? We've talked about the actions of other people. We've talked about the unknown stresses, the things we can't control. But there's going to be celebrations in life that you want to make sure you take time for. Now, I get it. If there's a big epic crisis, then you've got to go take care of that because the people, the public need you. But I want to make sure that you don't lose sight of birthdays and anniversaries and just sometimes a week where you really shined. And do something special for yourself. Get a massage. Go out to dinner. Take a vacation because that's how you replenish yourself. Consider it like, the bank of you, right? If you just keep withdrawing energy and allowing everything to get sucked out of you, then you're going to be depleted. You have to put in deposits. You have to have winning moments. You have to have those vacations. You have to have positive words of affirmation because that is what builds you up. I also want to make sure that as you journey through today that you think about where you want to go, kind of that vision for your life. Because it's hard to know where we want to maximize our potential if we don't have that vision. Like, for example, at Living Full Out, we're about to adopt a CRM. Now, I've kind of been putting that off because I need it to be compatible with my talking software that I use. And it's going to be a big, big, big deal when the whole company switches over to the CRM. But you know what? I embrace technology. I'm tenaciously starting to learn. And most of all, I know that I need to do that. I need to do that in order for the vision to live its way out. And the vision for you could be, how do you want to expand your role? How do you want to volunteer more? How do you want to find a way to, compartmentalize work and your personal life a little bit more? Now, maybe you've heard of vision boards, maybe not, but they are great. Just get a board, cut out pictures that remind you of what you're working for, what you're striving for. Maybe if you want to see people happy in the public eye, then see a bunch of people smiling and doing things. If you want a vacation somewhere one day, I know Australia's on my list, then have pictures of Australia. If you're looking to expand your home or remodel or get a home, then maybe the dream home that you want. This vision board is really important so that when you wake up, and whether it's in your bedroom or at the office, that it's a reminder that on those hard days that you keep going. And also think about accountability partners. Your coworkers may be those people. Your friends may be those people. At a networking function, just like today, you might find those people. I know that in my world, I need like-minded, tenacious, positive spirits to run with. Because if we hang around people that are negative, they bring us down. If we constantly put ourselves around people that have capped their growth, then you won't grow. You want to make sure that you find those people that hold the space in their hands for your dreams to come true, and also are those sounding boards when you need them most, people that will just listen and let you vent. And at the same time, you want to be that accountability partner for someone else. So take this opportunity at this conference and be that for someone else, or find someone that you have never met before and kind of get to know each other and just see what personal growth comes out of that. I want to thank the Prima family for letting me join your family. I'm so happy to have been a part of this conference, and trust me, I'm with you. We have to sometimes put on our seatbelt. And just like being on a plane, sometimes you have to put the mask on first yourself, make sure that you got oxygen, that you're healthy and happy before you can save the world. So don't forget that. But I want you also to leave today's presentation knowing that you will be able to maximize your potential. You have that secret sauce. You were the one chosen in your role because you are the solution. And sometimes that's a little bit scary because you might think, I don't know if I am, but you are. I promise you. Just remember to always quiet the noise of negativity. Remember to use words, I can, I will, and believe in yourself, those convictions, those values. Really love life. Go out there with vigor, with passion, with purpose. Thank you, everybody, for letting me join your Prima family today. And most of all, here's to you maximizing your potential as you live